The roar of the crowd was deafening. The stadium lights glared like 1,000 suns, reflecting off the polished turf. Every eye was on him, Cristiano Ronaldo, the man who had already conquered almost everything in football. And yet, standing there, breathing in the electric tension of the moment, he felt something familiar stir inside him, a hunger. It was a hunger not for fame, not for glory, not for the endless trophies that lined his shelves. No. This hunger was raw. Pure. A craving for victory that refused to be sated. Even after decades, even after millions cheered his name, even after he had done things that most only dream of, Cristiano felt that fire, the relentless need to push further, to be more, to win again. From the streets of Madeira, where a young boy kicked a tattered ball against crumbling walls, to the giant arenas of Europe, Cristiano had always been chasing something bigger. Not money. Not attention. But the thrill of the challenge, the sweet, elusive taste of victory when the odds were stacked against him. That drive had shaped him. It had forged him into a legend. Tonight, the world thought he was past his prime. Critics whispered, pundits doubted. Some said age would finally catch him, that the years had dulled his speed, his reflexes, his fire. But Cristiano smiled to himself. They didn't understand. They never had. Age, he knew, was just a number. And he was still hungry. Every training session, every sprint, every late-night workout in the gym was a battle against time itself. Every drop of sweat was a promise he made to himself. He would not settle. He would not fade quietly into history. He would fight until the last whistle, until the last goal, until the very last moment that he could feel the ball at his feet. And then the whistle blew. The game had begun. The stadium erupted. But this was not just another match. This was a stage where legends were tested, where stories were written, where Cristiano Ronaldo once again declared, "I am still hungry for victories." As he dribbled past defenders, lightning in his every move, the crowd saw not just skill, but the embodiment of sheer willpower. Every strike, every pass, every sprint was a message. To his rivals, to the doubters, to the world, the king was still here, and he was far from done. The first half ended, but the fire inside Cristiano had not dimmed. If anything, it had grown hotter. Because hunger, true hunger, does not die. It only fuels the soul to reach heights no one else dares to climb. And tonight, the world would witness it again. The stadium fell silent for a heartbeat. Cristiano Ronaldo stood at the center of the pitch, eyes locked on the goal, muscles taut with anticipation. This was no ordinary match. This was a battle where legends clashed, where every pass, every shot, every heartbeat mattered. And for Cristiano, it was a test, one more chance to prove that he was far from finished. His mind flashed back to the countless moments that had shaped him. The early mornings in Madeira, when the world slept, and he ran tirelessly, chasing shadows of greatness that didn't yet exist. The endless nights of training in empty gyms, the aching muscles, the blisters on his feet, the doubts whispered by those who said he couldn't. Every hardship had been a stepping stone. Every struggle had been fuel for the fire within him. Now, years later, facing opponents half his age, he felt that same hunger, that same relentless urge to conquer. The world had changed. Football had evolved. But he had evolved too. Faster, sharper, smarter, but above all, hungrier than ever. The ball came to him. A defender lunged, but Cristiano danced past, a blur of precision and power. He shot. The goalkeeper leapt, but the net bulged. Goal. The crowd erupted into a frenzy. But Ronaldo didn't celebrate. Not yet. Not for himself. Victory was never a personal trophy. It was a challenge. A puzzle to be solved. As the game continued, fatigue crept in. Muscles screamed, lungs burned, yet he pushed forward. Every sprint was a statement, every dribble a declaration, "I will not be stopped. I am still hungry for victories." His teammates fed off his energy, inspired by the unstoppable force of a man who refused to surrender to age, to expectation, to limitation. The clock ticked mercilessly. With every passing minute, the pressure mounted. And yet, Ronaldo thrived in the impossible. A corner kick, a flash of brilliance, a strike that bent time itself, the ball kissed the crossbar, then rolled into the goal. Victory again, but earned, fought for, and savored in the only way he knew how, through sheer will and unbreakable determination. When the final whistle blew, Cristiano didn't just walk off the field. He stood tall, a symbol of resilience. Critics would talk, fans would cheer, and history would remember. But for him, it was never about memory, it was about the next challenge, the next goal, the next victory. Because hunger, real hunger, never rests. And Cristiano Ronaldo? He was just getting started. The stadium lights flickered as the night deepened. Cristiano Ronaldo stood alone in the tunnel, helmeted by shadows, heart pounding like a drum. This was the Champions League final, the pinnacle of football, where dreams were forged and shattered in the blink of an eye. For some, it was just a game. For him, it was a battlefield, a place where legends proved themselves worthy of eternity. He remembered the doubters, the whispers, the headlines questioning whether he could still perform at the highest level. Too old, they said. Past his prime. Yet here he was, wearing the captain's armband, ready to carry not just a team, but the hopes of millions, on shoulders that had known both agony and triumph. The whistle blew. Instantly, he became a whirlwind of motion. Every touch of the ball was precise, every sprint calculated. Time seemed to slow when he dribbled past defenders, the stadium erupting with every daring move. And then, an impossible angle, a split-second decision, and he struck. The ball curved with perfection, defying physics, crashing into the back of the net. Goal. The crowd went insane, but Cristiano's eyes didn't sparkle with vanity, they burned with purpose. This was never about applause. This was about legacy, about proving that hunger doesn't fade with age. That determination, discipline, and an unyielding spirit could defy time itself. The second half was a war. Opponents pressed harder, the minutes dragged, and exhaustion clawed at every muscle. Yet Ronaldo thrived in adversity. He dove, he struck, he commanded his teammates with a presence that demanded excellence. When the final whistle approached, the score was tied, tension suffocating the stadium. And then, the moment. A corner kick. The ball flew in like a missile. Ronaldo leapt, higher than anyone thought possible, a silhouette of power and grace. His header, sharp, unstoppable, found the net. Victory. Triumph. Glory. As the crowd chanted his name, he looked around, eyes glistening not from pride, but from fulfillment. Every scar, every sacrifice, every relentless training session had led to this. And yet, deep inside, the fire still roared. One victory was never enough. One trophy never enough. Cristiano Ronaldo's hunger was eternal. He had conquered the impossible once again, but he knew, as long as he drew breath, there would always be another challenge, another match, another goal. Because champions are not defined by the trophies they hold, they are defined by the insatiable fire that drives them forward. And his fire? It was burning brighter than ever. The locker room was quiet, almost reverent. Cristiano Ronaldo sat on the bench, towel draped over his shoulders, sweat still glistening on his brow. The final whistle had blown, and the stadium outside roared with celebration. Champions were crowned. Records were shattered. History had been written. But for Ronaldo, the moment wasn't about applause. It never was. He thought of the boy from Madeira, kicking a worn-out ball against crumbling walls, dreaming of greatness while the world slept. He thought of the countless nights of pain, doubt, and struggle that had brought him here. And he smiled, not with satisfaction, but with the unyielding awareness that his journey was far from over. Age? Irrelevant. Limits? Imaginary. Time? A challenge he had mastered. Every victory, every goal, every breathtaking moment on the pitch was proof of one truth: hunger cannot be defeated. Hunger fuels the soul, drives the body, and elevates the mind. Cristiano rose, looking into the eyes of his teammates, coaches, and fans. They saw not just a footballer, but a force of nature, a living testament to perseverance. "I am still hungry," he said softly, a declaration that echoed louder than any cheer outside. Hungry for victories. Hungry for challenges. Hungry to keep proving that the impossible is never out of reach. The world would remember his name for decades, not merely for the trophies, but for the spirit he embodied. A spirit that refused to rest, refused to fade, and refused to accept limits. That spirit had inspired millions, not only to play, but to believe, to fight, to dream. As the sun rose the next day, Cristiano stepped out onto the quiet training pitch. The fans had gone home. The headlines would write themselves. But he didn't need them. The game continued, and so did he. Every sprint, every strike, every drop of sweat was a step toward the next challenge. For Cristiano Ronaldo, the journey was eternal. Every victory was a chapter, every defeat a lesson, every match a chance to prove that greatness is not measured by age, by fame, or by accolades. Greatness is measured by one thing: an unquenchable hunger for more. And that hunger? It burned brighter than ever. Because legends are not born. Legends are forged. And Cristiano Ronaldo, still hungry, still unstoppable, was proof that the fire of victory can never, ever die.